Welcome back to All-Star Paris 2014. Let's get to the main event. It is Game 1 in the All-Star Finals between SK Telecom, T1K, and OMG. The entire week has been leading up to this championship game, this title game, as it were. Now, this is a tournament, this is a showdown of the tournament favorites, but it's not the first time that they have faced off. They did play in the World's group stage last year, where the score was an even 1-1. And much like the Season 3 World Championships, it is Korea versus China in the final. But this time, OMG will be the Chinese team that'll have a chance at doing battle with SKT. Let's talk a little bit about SKT and how they have been struggling in Korea's on-game net champions, but they've really showed up big here against international competition. They haven't really been pressured, I feel, this tournament at all. Impact in particular, he's had some stunning games. His Shyvana play has been great. Crepo, what's your take on Impact?
I mean, just solid. Every game he seems to play, whether it's due to his own laning ability or just SKT's decisions in the game regarding lane swaps, he comes out on top most of the time. And if he doesn't, in the odd chance he doesn't, then his team just plays around to make sure he doesn't fall behind, because SKT will punish you and just put your top laners, the enemy top laner, so far behind that the game just snowballs out of it.
And one of the very strong points about Impact, he is, correct me if I'm wrong, the only top laner in Korea who plays Trundle?
One of them
at least.
But
one of the
certainly
few who
the most prominent
one. So one of the few who plays Trundle. Gogoing has played Shyvana 4 times already. Could be one of the reasons they want the red side, so they can then counterpick Shyvana with a Trundle for Impact.
I think Monty has something to say.
It's a nice one t-shirt you have.
Yeah, you've dressed up. You've dressed up for this game.
I did, yeah.
Talk to me about the
Look like
team.
a
I mean,
male.
we know where your allegiances lie, but what is standing out? Who is standing out on SK Telecom?
I mean, I have to say really Piglet, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but in spite of all of the troubles that SK Telecom has had, he's been the consistent one. He's been the guy who's been keeping them in, even in the losses. He has this Twitch play that's just great. His Kog'Maw also way up there. Of course, his Vayne, sensational. And he's a very interesting player. He's very emotional. He is a bit cocky, like many AD Carry players seem to be. I don't know why that's like a trend with AD Carry players.
Because we're just the best.
Just the see right there. Free go.
They are, not
Thank
you,
you.
Freak. They are.
But yeah,
1 mid after this.
I'm on.
Okay.
Yeah, Piglet, he really values winning, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but after a flawless season, after a 3-0 victory in Champions Winter, he cried on stage because he felt he didn't perform up to his normal standards, and he also just practices all the time. He's known for practicing something like 16 hours a day on average, so he's a workhorse, and it really shows up with consistency in his results.
Well, we'll need to see how the team shapes up against OMG, who are on the other side of the rift. Now, the last time OMG played against a Korean team in an international event, it was at the World Cyber Games, where they actually lost to CJ Blaze in the finals. So they do have some experience. OMG were at Worlds last year. Cool was playing for them. He's here. He's subbing. He just won Crepo's MVP award. So they, as a team, they seem to be doing quite well. Alan in particular stands out. His Thresh is my favorite Thresh of the tournament. Freak, what do you think?
Yeah, he's an amazing player overall. I mean, mechanically down the line, the rest of these guys are awesome. But Alan, if you give him an initiator, someone who's actually good at it, not like a Nami or something, but you give him Thresh, you give him Annie, even Leona, something like this, that works for OMG. They are a team that goes in, they find a kill, and they just go for it. And they don't always know if there's other guys down in the fog of war, but if they find someone, they're going to hit that guy.
I just wonder if SKT is gonna answer to that and just ban out Alan's champions, because they'll most likely be kind of picking their solo lanes, so they'll leave something up for the bot lane and just play whatever matchup comes out of it. I wonder if they're gonna hit him, or if they're just gonna be too proud for him and say like, well, you can pick whatever you want, we'll just outplay you.
Most impressive thing for me, though, he has the highest kill participation of everyone at All Stars. I believe it's like 74, 75%. So he's basically part of everything OMG does when it comes to engaging fights, when it comes to setting up kills. And this is actually where SKT might punish him, because he tends to sometimes go a little bit too over-aggressive. It could be something where SKT picks him off if they have better vision.
Not only that, but it also speaks to OMG's playstyle, where they like to group early and often and not play those split push. That's how he's getting such a high kill contribution rate. And SK Telecom, they don't really play that way. They like the little skirmishes. They like the picks. So, bit of an interesting stylistic difference that Stat says in terms of the team play as well.
And of course, the person that's picking up those kills in the team fights is Sun, the AD carry for OMG. His stats are phenomenal. 38, 14, and 35 across the 6 games played. The only loss that they've suffered thus far in the group stages, of course, was to Cloud9 and SKT. They smashed Cloud9 when they were playing in the semi-finals yesterday. Sun in particular has stepped up. Deficio, AD Carry and support. I mean, you like Alan. What's Sun doing for you?
Well, for me, he's actually been the best player for OMG this tournament, and the dual lane itself is where I feel OMG has the advantage over SKT and can actually try and win the laning phase and use this, because whenever Sun is fed and going to team fights, they know they have the damage they need. We talked about how the build comes around him as well, so he can always do a lot of damage in these fights. And then it also comes down to this Twitch pick here, because he picked it yesterday against Cloud9. He actually has a KD of 29 in the 2 wins where he played Twitch. Piglet, of course, plays it. Could be either a ban or a first pick potentially for the teams.
We will have to see how that plays out. OMG's individual ability to make plays, I think, is going to be very crucial for them in gaining a lead against SKT, because we do feel SKT has the better macro strategic rotational play, as it were. Gentlemen, this series decides absolutely everything. So let's get your predictions now for who will be named the All-Star Champion 2014. Keep in mind that this prediction will be worth a hefty 5 points. I do feel like we know where these predictions will be, but let's lock them in nonetheless, starting with Deficio.
Right, so even though you look like a mailman in your little suit here, I still have to go with SKT. I think the solo laners are going to carry it for them. Bot lane-wise, as long as they can survive laning phase, SKT got the superior movements and better solo laners.
Moving along.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, no surprise. I'm going for SK Telecom T1K here. They've just shown more throughout this tournament, and seems like OMG really has a lot to pick up on in terms of that big picture strategy.
Yeah, I should really start investing in some SKT props. I really feel out of tone here. I mean, I borrowed a scarf and all, but no, I'm going for SKT T1. Yeah, solid. You know, strategy-wise, individual-wise, everything has been said before. SKT for my vote.
Well, I'm going the same as I was the entire tournament. I'm still going OMG. I've got the scarf as well. Once again, it's here, and it's here to stay. I think these guys are aggressive. They're going to make the moves. And the thing is, they're proactive enough that even though SKT likes to make these picks, make these rotations, kind of get people off guard, OMG is going to be there first and be there with more people.
I will have to see. You have stuck with OMG all tournament, the very first time I asked you about them. Let's check those predictions against the numbers on lolesports.com, where it looks like you guys are picking SKT T1K to triumph over OMG by 64%. They are the favorites. It's OMG that has to step up. It is time to send things down to the caster desk and get into our first match of the best of 5 finals. But first, this is the matchup that many fans actually wanted to see at Worlds last year. Both SKT, T1K, and OMG are looking forward to competing against each other in this All-Star final, and they both hope to walk away as the All-Star champions.
如果能在这次全明星的比赛上战胜 SKT 的话，我觉得这是对我们实力的认可，而且是一种很大的荣耀。
이번에 올스타전에서 좀 좋은 모습을 보여주려고 했는데 이렇게 기대감을 충족시켜준 것 같아서 저는 좀 만족합니다.
在 S3 的时候是有一个遗憾，没有与他们在决赛会面。然后这次如果能够战胜的话，我觉得会非常开心，满足了自己的一个心愿。
아마도 이번에 우승을 한다면은 당연히 이제 저희 입장에서 좋고 다시 자신감을 찾아서 이제 다시 썸머 시즌을 하는데 썸머 시즌 때도 잘할 수도 있을 것 같고 다시 롤드컵 때도 우승할 수 있을 것 같아요.
Absolutely, you can't argue what OMG just said there. They have no regrets that they want to take some revenge over SK Telecom. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to welcome Joshua Jack-Leesman here to the caster desk for this final showdown.
Yeah, I'm just along for the ride because I feel like the fans and the teams are going to be carrying this one.
Yeah, the fans are ready for this one. While it's not Fnatic who they were cheering for the entire weekend long, these guys are still loud, showing maximum respect to everyone else. So, let's get into it then. Let's check out the starting lineups on the blue side. It's OMG, coming out of China and doing incredibly well here. They are, of course, Gogoing in the top lane, pomelo in the jungle, their big name mid laner, xiyang in the mid, Sun, the AD carry, been brilliant for them so far, and of course, Alan, the support.
Of course, on the red side is the defending world champions, SKT T1K with impact in the top lane. Bengi, great tournament in the jungle. FLICKR is still FLICKR, the best in the world at mid lane. Piglet as AD Carry, and PoohManDu returning on support to try and take that team to the championship.
And what a scary team it really is, honestly. They've not really put a foot wrong so far, But we are going to turn our attention to our featured matchup for this game. It is the mid lane. It is OMG's Xiyang versus SK Telecom's FLICKR.
And this is going to be a great rematch from the group stage. These guys are the best mid laners from the regions and the best mid laners in the world, it seems, and more than any other team. We talked about it. OMG builds their strategy around Xiyang. They use the 3-0-4-1. I got those mixed up. It's a 3-1 and 4-0 push just to get these guys going. And I actually think it's why SKT picked red side so they can counterpick this guy.
And as we've seen all through All-Stars, we have to say, you said it yourself in the lineups there, FLICKR is still FLICKR. He's a Season 3 MVP, and he's still at the top of his game.
Exactly, and when they faced off in day 2 of the group stage, FLICKR destroyed that matchup. He brought out the Orianna pick, as it always seems like it happens in these big events when Orianna comes out. 9-3-6 is Orianna versus OMG, destroying Xiyang's 4-4-4 Ziggs. And that was really the story of the game. If Xiyang doesn't do well for OMG, they lose.
Absolutely. You can hear the crowd. They're absolutely ready. They're actually chilling for Yellowstar, by the way, right now. You can see him on the screen just behind me over there somewhere. So he's over on the French cast. A lot of love for Yellowstar here. No surprises. Unfortunately for him, they're not in the finals. They kind of got taken out by SK Telecom, as of everyone else so far in this tournament. They are unbeaten so far.
Exactly, and a lot of that had to do, if we just talk about how SK Telecom got here, with their early game strategy, which isn't something that they had been excelling with in their struggling season over in Korea. They were getting out-rotated by a lot of people, just not moving around the map. We talked to Reckless after the game yesterday very briefly. There were times in the game where he said, I just wanted to farm 1 minion wave, and he couldn't do it because SKT was always there. And that's going to be tricky for OMG, who typically likes to draw games out a little bit in the early game.
And I really like what we heard from SKT there, that a possible win here at All-Star could rejuvenate them as a team, could give them the confidence back, could give them more energy, because really it's the summer split where it really counts, where you're fighting to go to Worlds. And I mean, this, if they play like this, if they can continue to play like this, they are going to do better in their summer champion season. We'll have to find out though if they can get that, because OMG are hot right now.
Here we go, picks and bans, and remember, SK Telecom, despite coming in as the favorites, have chosen to go a number of times with the red side, and we believe that is down to counter picking, of course, for the mid lane. Right now, the picks and bans quickly. Yasuo, no surprise, and Thresh.
Yeah, or as Deficio said, it could be a top lane counter-picking thing, just because for OMG, Gogoing almost always sacrifices his own farm, and SKT has been destroying enemy top laners, so if they really messed up his champion pick as well as playstyle, they could take him completely out of the game, almost pull a fast switch on OMG, and just punish the things they already let themselves get punished on.
Oh, we'll see the bans coming down from OMG, a little bit more mixed, but definitely towards the mid lane, towards FLICKR, LeBlanc, Yasuo, Lee Sin there towards Bengi in the jungle. Over the other side, Thresh against Alan, probably the best ban against OMG when it comes to starting fights and initiation. Nunu taken away, as well as casting in a very fast lock-in here for Twitch.
And Joe, so much stuff was left up in this champion select. Obviously, like Yasuo is a nice ban and Nunu are like nice target bans, but they leave the power champions available. I thought Twitch was going to be a ban or first pick in this series. He's 6 wins, 2 losses overall in this event, and the first pick doesn't surprise me, except for the fact that they gave up Jax.
They gave up Jax and Kha'Zix as well, so Bengi back on Kha'Zix. We saw pomelo on that earlier in the tournament. The crowd hoping they'd see some Pantheon come out here, actually, with the Sparta chance there. Jax as well, of course. Well, I mean, Impact has earned himself his own skin in this game, of course, world champions, and he has gone with it. And speaking of Sparta, there it is once again. I think we're going to get some chance for it throughout this one, but Leona alongside Pantheon.
You and me were sitting in the back room during OMG's games when these exact chants happened, and I was, what are they on about? And you're just like, it's the Sparta chant because of Pantheon, and they're bringing it back because that Pantheon was ridiculous. The timing of the ultimates with the coordination from the rest of the team, every single Pantheon ultimate resulted in multiple kills.
On the other side, SKT not really messing around here in terms of their picks though. Of course, Twitch was taken away. Piglet is going to secure himself Lucian. They also take the Morgana in the support role. Obviously that Black Shield, something that they're going to be utilizing, especially against Leona.
Yeah, and speaking of supports, I mean, obviously we've seen Piglet tweeting out, it's on the top of Reddit right now, the fact there is an OP support they're going to release. Pretty sure Morgana's not it. We've seen that a number of times, so we're not going to get to see it this game.
We're going to be able to get to their OP support at some point, maybe once they're up 2-0, if they want to do another statement game. The one thing that this does tell me about the champion select is SKT is absolutely using this side to try and counter the mid lane.
Syndra sneaking through. Xiyang has some impressive stats on Syndra. We saw it earlier in the tournament as well. He was 5-0 in LPL and he's had a massive win against Taipei Assassins, dominated them along with Renekton.
He's never lost with it in pro play. He drew a bunch of bans for it over in the LPL. And then you also know that they picked the Renekton right at the end. Something like 28-2 in competitive play as far as Gogoing's Renekton. But the Orianna, it's what FLICKR played in day one. It's the just play it against everything mid lane matchup. If you play it well enough, you can beat everyone. And that's what FLICKR's going to end up going with. I'm very surprised that they would use their last pick on a generalist mid laner like that while giving them Syndra, unless they're just trying to demoralize them in game one.
Well, we saw FLICKR on Orianna against the Ziggs, a similar champion in terms of there's a lot of skill shots in there, and the extra speed boost. We saw how much FLICKR dodged in the laning phase in particular, of course. Later on he was doing it all over the place, but in the lane phase he took so little damage because he was dodging everything that they were throwing at him.
Thing is though, I see that from the Ziggs, and Ziggs spells and skill shots come out a lot more slowly than Syndra stuff does. Those Syndra stuns, when you're timing it right, feel instantaneous a lot of the time. This would be the statement game for FLICKR if he can destroy xiyang Syndra 1v1. I don't think destruction is actually in the cards here, but I've been wrong before.
Well, two very good team comps, that's for sure. This is the first match in the series. It is about to begin, ladies and gentlemen. We want you to head over to Twitter and tell us who you think will win this one. Hashtag OMG win or hashtag SKT win to @LOL Esports. And we will maybe check those out and pick our favorite ones and see how you vote on this one as well.
And aside from not having the Thresh because it was banned away, this very much looks like the most comfortable team composition OMG could have coming into game one.
Absolutely, yeah.
Obviously, Thresh not being there and having to play against a Morgana with Leona is going to be a bit of a difficult for them. But this is as good as it's going to get for OMG, team comp-wise.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game one about to get underway here at All-Star in Paris 2014. OMG from the LPL in China up against SK Telecom, the reigning world champions, and of course the champions of the OGN Winter over in Korea.
So, out of the gate here then. Last time we saw FLICKR and Orianna, he got a bit of mind games going on early on, dancing around in the mid lane as he dodged skill after skill after skill shot. And now we see OMG though, grouping up here on this bottom side. This is all 5 players for the Chinese side. The question is, are they going to be playing early aggressive in this? Key things to note, they've got a ward SK Telecom on their blue buff, so were OMG to go in there, it'd be a simple case of moving over the map for SKT.
And SKT has had some inconsistent level 1s. They had a fantastic one against, it was Cloud9 in the group stage, but a pretty weak one against Fnatic in game 1 of yesterday. That's kind of a defensive ward that SKT's put up, warding their own blue like that.
Well, no surprises with the votes there. 80% of you voting on SK Telecom already. And we're not too surprised by that one. I think it's fair to say that about matches what our analyst desk came out with the votes here. Of course, SK Telecom coming in big favorites for this tournament. OMG were always favorites for reaching the finals. We'll see whether they can go one step further and take down the reigning world champions.
And I think the big thing that we know right off the bat here is with these guys both having 4 versus 0 stacks, it's going to be a mid lane isolation between xiyang and FLICKR. This is exactly what I came to this match to see which one of these guys was better in an isolated 1v1 scenario. We just got through a bunch of 1v1s and 2v2s. We got another one here in the finals.
So blue buffs then, as we expected, will be swapped out. OMG getting the one from SKT's jungle, same over the other side of the map, which leaves xiyang and FLICKR to duel it out in the middle lane with Syndra versus Orianna. As I said before, FLICKR pulled off some moves, that's for sure, in the last game that he came out with the Orianna in that mid lane. But xiyang, you can't take anything away from him. His Syndra performance has been absolutely top-notch, world-class.
Probably best Syndra anyone had seen when he played it in the group stage against TPA, as far as the way he took control of the game afterwards.
Yugs and me will argue the case against you there with his pentakill last
Let me tell you,
last season.
We mentioned this yesterday, man. Guys that say they're the best players will always say they're the best players.
That's for sure. xiyang gonna have to get away here. He's completely pounced on. Oh, but there's a great knockback. Have they got enough to try and chase it down? The team comes in. Pomelo's there. We get some damage back down towards it. Bengi with the blue buff. He has to be the focus target. Impact with a minion. The cannon minion does not turn towards him. And everybody escapes alive.
Yeah, well, when we thought it was going to be an isolated matchup, no way. They let it be an isolated matchup right there, but they both get away with slivers of health. The only things to note there is there's actually still an Ignite on xiyang, so if he gets his health back, he would theoretically have an advantage after that craziness. They are going to be camping the crap out of this mid lane from both sides.
Almost as if they figured that both teams wanted the isolated mid lane and then made the move to come to that mid lane just because they expected the opposition not to do that. There is xiyang once again. Actually, PoohManDu is playing very aggressive between towers there. They've got 3 men on this mid lane turret. Pomelo's going to try and come around, but this is going to be hard to take back.
And I think, Joe, the isolation mind game is exactly what these guys were thinking, and that's kind of part of SKT's early game planning. They make someone think they know what they want, and then they go and counter that. It's a great job by them. All their early games have been spectacular.
But what is turning around here is the fact they did not get that mid lane. Meanwhile, the bottom tower is taking a lot of damage from OMG so far. So despite SK Telecom's attempts, they have yet to really make a dent on that tower. And you can see San and Alan down this bottom lane have put a really big dent in it to the fact that Impact, he has to back away.
Gonna lose a lot from this one if we look down the CS. I was gonna say Gogoing has double CS, which is factually correct, but it's 4-2, which is not exactly a big deal at this point. However, we've seen these top laners when the turrets have gone down early and been frozen out of games before. Interested to see how that works from both of these. Certainly OMG are going to take the first tower.
Yeah, and more than ever as far as top laners getting shut out in this All-Star event, the average CS at 10 for a top laner here is 52. It's incredibly low because they've basically been sacrificed in so many of these games. And instead of just the fast turret pushes that go 2 turrets deep, it's more about denial. And OMG, for instance, is a team that's very willing to let that happen. Gogoing, despite his good performance this event, 46 CS at 10, he's really just going to survive. And this game is no different. If we did CS at 5, it would be 5.
Well, currently it's the mid lane we wanted to talk about. Gogoing on Renekton. It really is one of the best 2v1 champions out there you could hope for in this kind of setup, and maybe that's something that they planned to go ahead with. Gogoing does manage to call out his minions there, keeps himself at that double CS just about, but we do see Sun and Alan changing of the guard in the top lane. Does mean that the duo lane's now up there, and of course the tower advantage for OMG.
But speaking of top laners getting isolated or freezing the lane, with this lane swap that OMG has done, Impact could absolutely freeze the lane for himself on Jax here, and that would be circumventing the Renekton as a counter pick, because there's no way Gogoing can get farm. He's still running down that bottom lane, but he actually has nowhere to go here. I really wonder if SKT is going to take advantage of this.
Oh, FLICKR gonna get stunned up. Here comes Pantheon from the side. Bit of damage back on towards xiyang. pomelo gonna throw his spear off in there, and FLICKR able to walk off. Bengi, of course, had come back around to that. And one thing that was so impressive about xiyang's play with the Syndra was how good he was at landing the stun. Over and over and over again, we saw him stunning multiple people.
Well, currently, PoohManDu returns back to lane, gets himself a chunk of gold. We are going to finally see that Sun and Piglet up against them. FLICKR's taking some serious damage in this mid lane against Jung. He's running a high-risk game right now.
This mid lane is going to be such a battle. There's already been so many supports and junglers and top laners just arriving in that lane, but in the instant they got a little bit of FaceTime with each other, we get to see them burn their entire mana pool and nearly try and push each other out of lane. FLICKR does hit 6 first, though, and xiyang is out of mana. He's going to be back in pretty shortly.
Just hitting level 6 there, though, which will bring him back up to the same rate as FLICKR, who just wanted this last wave after putting a ward down. Needs to be careful though, because Xiyang at level 6, man is starting to regen there, could have been a bit of a threat to him. Meanwhile, Impact, we were talking about freezing that lane up. Gogoing gonna go aggressive here. There's a stun coming down. He's not gonna escape this one, surely.
Or is he?
Yeah, exactly. I've said that before a few times in this tournament so far. Very, very low. We can see that Syndra, Pantheon are coming down to try and close him off. Gonna get the counter-strike off. Gogoing goes in there quick enough. He's got nowhere to go.
He's got the hit. Impact
he
is
has
in
his
trouble.
teleport maybe if he can find a window where Gogoing's stun is down, but he's really just trying to kill as much time as possible. Eventually, he's going to try and make a great escape. Someone's got to collapse eventually. He's going to try and execute here. Gogoing, has he done damage?
No! Oh, whoa, wow.
At the very least, Gogoing was in experience range for that death, but it is a great job by Impact to do all that dodging and not give up a kill.
He just got a glimpse of bengi there. The blue buff is on him. He had to steal it away, because while that was all going on, pomelo and xiyang went into SK Telecom's jungle and tried to steal away that blue buff from them. That's not going to be on FLICKR so far. Pomelo, though, is going to eat some serious damage from bengi. He's going for it. He's used the ultimate. He's going to tower dive. He gets the first blood. Xiyang does not land the stun. Can he try and close the gap towards him? No. Bengi's hit and run.
Look at that level difference. First off, level 6, level 4, and then to have Xiyang short the stun is disastrous, because that could have been a blue buff back to the mid laner. He's landed that stun 99 times out of 100, but he misses it at that point.
Good stuff from SKT. Bengi now having this red buff away, and he'll be feeling strong. We know what happens to a confident player, and Bengi this event has been, you know, there were these questions about Bengi. Is he feeling confident enough? I might get back to that in a second. He's just recalling, but there were the question marks really about Bengi. But we've seen him with Lee Sin diving in behind 2 turrets through the wall into the enemy base with Lee Sin multiple times. He's playing like there's no problem for him right now.
And the results absolutely show it. Even when we saw Piglet talking in the promo before this, they said if they could win this All-Stars, they could get their confidence back and maybe even win Worlds, because that's what they gained when they won last time on the World stage. They're doing well to get it back.
And you gotta wonder with OMG, this is, I always feel, the crucial moment for OMG. Do or die for themselves, not for the opposition team. When they all hit level 6, the aggression gets turned on. And it can either go big or go very, very badly wrong.
In the first game of their best of 3 against Cloud9 yesterday, OMG was in a similar situation, maybe even worse. They were down a couple thousand gold, really losing out on pressure, and then they turned some nice team fights. But that was against a team that's not as good as SKT. Cloud9 is not on their level, and SKT very rarely gives up any type of lead.
Oh, Sun here actually getting away. And that's the funny thing, because that's what OMG do. They team fight incredibly, incredibly well. And if you can't have enough of a lead for them going in, you might be in danger later. And Bengi's coming up here. Sun is trying to recall. It's just around the corner from Bengi. He's not going to spot him. He gets away. Morgana coming up. This could actually be dangerous for SKT if they play it wrong.
And this is, like you said, where OMG absolutely has to stay alive with all the danger going through. If you want to beat OMG, you have to destroy them early, is what we've seen. Because if it gets to that team fighting phase and the experience is close, it could be trouble.
Bengi sneaks in, gets the voice bugs on the white there. He's still got a 2-level advantage over pomelo, and that could be huge as this game develops. Because without that ultimate, you know, the Grand Skyfall, it's a big problem for OMG right now. Their normal aggression cannot be used without that jungler.
Especially with how great their Pantheon ults have been, their team is kind of waiting on that to create pressure plays. But the more blue and red buffs, the buffs that give the most experience and also have great catch-up mechanics for junglers who are behind, if SKT keeps stealing those, they can actually keep pomelo behind in this match.
8 people up towards that top lane. With the Pantheons there as well. So many, so close to being something big there, but in the end, neither team, I think, feeling the confidence of wanting to go forward and fight. Also, the fact is FLICKR, 108 to the 86 CS of Xiyang, has a lot of gold to spend right now. Already got that Chalice in there, of course. I want to talk about the top lane as well, because they've obviously been down farming that bottom lane. 63 to 56 CS in favor of Jax. Impact already has himself that Vamp Scepter in there, but a pickaxe on the other side. Gogoing's going to try and do something early here to cripple Impact.
Well, you can see the Dragon getting started off. Just before we get into that, you're going to see the Xiyang. I mean, simply put, Faker's had no pressure on him. He knows that Pomelo is so low, he got taken down first blood, and that all leads to this simple, easy dragon for SK Telecom.
Completely uncontestable at this point. OMG, this is the weakness in their game. Very early on in the game, even against some of the lower tier LPL teams, they would be even or even slightly behind on gold. It's because they just don't put priorities on these early game objectives. They have enough confidence in themselves that they can just kind of play it safe. You can't play safe against SKT and actually beat them.
And right now SKT are pushing this bottom lane. And Gogoing might be in a little bit of trouble here because Bengi's come around. This is a 3-on-1. Gogoing actually, he's going to do a lot of damage over there. The turret tanked up. Here comes Alan from the side, landing on towards Faker. They're going to pile everything in. Faker's in real trouble here. Throws down the shockwave, which means pomelo is stuck under the tower. A kill comes back from that one. Well, Impact keep going. Bengi is actually coming across the side here. Alan's going to be the sacrificial lamb. He'll go to the top side so the rest can get away. He'll fall down. xiyang going low. They're trying to get back in on towards Mandu. Going with his ultimate ring. I don't think it's going to be enough. In the end, we come out with SK Telecom again ahead in kills.
And it kind of seems like OMG is telegraphing their strategy, and then SKT is able to come back at it a little bit because they burned everything onto that turret dive, just piling on, but it gave time for the teleport to come back in and give a kill. See exactly right here. It's all burned on Faker, and he had the ball on his head, so all this damage is actually fairly reduced. Notice the teleport not in the turret because he needed the positioning and the shockwave extra sucked in OMG, so they had to spend time running away to give Impact damage coming down.
And with that teleport for Impact, it certainly drew him back in there. You can see the second kill coming in. xiyang just about surviving on the turret here. Very low, but PoohManDu can't get chased upon. Meanwhile, back in the jungle, now with a 2,000 gold advantage for SK Telecom. OMG are in danger of slipping away in this game. That was the first big play they've tried to create, and again, it was countered by SK Telecom, just like we saw against Fnatic yesterday.
And you got to try and find the limit of how far OMG can actually fall behind, and we're really getting close to that point. Sun does have his Blade of the Ruined King on Twitch. He's going to need to try a few surprise attacks. If something brings them back in the game, I think it would be the stealth attacks from Sun's Twitch.
The problem that I see with that, though, is that they're sticking as a three-man team. Are you going to come up against the Blade of the Ruined King Jax to that surprise attack? Probably not. Kha'Zix also is probably the only one that's going to be hanging around. We'll have to see about that one. It's difficult here, I think, well, it's difficult for any team in the world when you fall behind against, well, the world champions, to actually force them to give up that lead, to make the plays that are going to crawl you back into the game. We're 15 minutes in here. We can see that the gold sitting around about 3,000 already in the lead for SK Telecom.
You do really have to wonder how OMG is going to pull this one back in. They have their ultimates back again, their big killing ultimates, Leona and Pantheon, but they might be a little trigger shy. They got to be extremely careful about how they initiate because of how the last one turned sour.
You can see OMG playing very defensive, and SK Telecom stealing away all that vision that OMG had worked hard to put in there. Piglet taken down, they pull the trigger on xiyang, gets drawn in there. He's going to get taken down before they can join the fray here. Bengi pounces on towards him, Faker gets taken down as well. Sun's managed to come in, close the gap here. Bengi's going to flash away from this one. PoohManDu's in all sorts of trouble. He goes down to Gogoing. It's a 2-for-1 this time to OMG, and they're pushing the mid-turret.
Whoever shows their hand first here is actually falling short in the team fights. They are very low here pushing the mid lane, and Impact is absolutely full health. It means they have to back away.
It also means that Impact's full health because he wasn't even involved in that one whatsoever, trying to get himself down there in time. In the end, Gogoing actually used his teleport to get there. You can see that Impact didn't have that available, and those numbers advantage switch things. Let's have a look at it again.
Yeah, and this was SKT finding a catch on a xiyang, and you can tell their eyes just got big as soon as they got that Dark Binding, but they walked right into the Pantheon ult and the Twitch. Faker goes down, basically both mid laners get caught, and at that point, it's one teleport versus no teleport. They get the extra man in the team fight. That's all she wrote, 2-for-1.
Yeah, and of course, you know, Impact's teleport was down because he used it in the last fight that went their way. So two teleports used to turn the fight to their advantage. They are, of course, both on cooldown. Impacts will come up first, and he is actually waiting to try and pounce around the back of Gogoing. He's got the support of Bengi and PoohManDu moving up the river.
And Bengi will want to become involved in almost every single one of these fights, knowing he is 3-0. This is the time for him to step up, but Gogoing, he's losing this fight badly.
He has got no ulti. Impact has a flash, but he's got no vision. That was the problem there. Scared to go through the enemy jungle, and rightly so, because look who had started moving, well, pretty much the entire team outside of Sun from that on. 1 minute to go, though, until the next dragon comes into this game, and that's going to be a real interesting fight.
I think one thing is clear from the last 2 big fights we've seen already is the mid laners are the focus. Just as we focused on them in the featured matchup, clearly these 2 teams, it's always xiyang and FLICKR going down first.
It's funny, though, because it's so much different than an isolated 1v1. It is just them getting focused by both sides. Another fight erupts. Alan is so dead.
Alan Doe, he gets drawn away from it. Bengi's now in trouble. xiyang shuts him down, and that turns it back around. Pomelo jumps in, but he's a little bit too deep on this one.
Double stun!
Look at that! Double stun comes in. Gogoing gets on towards PoohManDu. Shockwave is pulled, but it's not enough damage. Impact teleports in, runs down the side there. Sun's chasing on towards FLICKR. He cannot gain ground. He gets slowed down there, but it's a 2 for 0 this time to OMG.
That is exactly the point in the game where OMG had to win a fight to start turning it around. It all started in a ward fight while Alan was out there. He initially got it, and the fact that xiyang is rolling now is a big deal.
xiyang 2-1-3. Themes finished, and that's some good gold from that, but let's have a look at it again. You see Bengi trying to get the wall.
Yeah, I thought for sure Alan was dead here, but because the Dark Binding held him down for so long, and he had that Eclipse Shield up, he barely survived, and it actually pulls SKT in to the Pantheon, and pay attention to xiyang. He shorted that stun at the start of the game. This one was right on the money. Gets them both, and allows the rest of OMG to pile on, and they pick up 2 kills in that fight.
Really strong performance again, and we said it before, we've said it time and time again, and that's what's happened here. The OMG, the further we go on into the game, the bigger these team fights become, the stronger and more confident they seem to get.
Look at the jungle. Pomelo was 2 levels behind. He's now a level ahead of Bengi. He's managed to gain 3 levels from somewhere, just simply jumping in with those Skyfalls and gaining the kill assist. It is working out in his favor, and once again, this time, finally, FLICKR gets himself a blue buff.
Exactly, and that's why these mid games are so important. Looking at the jungler levels, is if the jungler is behind but then gets involved in some kills, gets some of the buff experience, there are those catch-up mechanics in the jungle that when you add them to the one-team fights, slingshot them ahead a little bit. We do have to note, though, that during the replay, the Dragon was taken by SKT, which keeps them about 2,000 gold ahead. But as we saw in the last few fights, that 2,000 gold would matter to other teams. It doesn't really matter for OMG because they team fight so well.
And SKT have the added bonus, I think, at this point that Jax is only going to be getting stronger. Orianna's only going to be doing more as this game does go along. So we'll see how that one develops. But xiyang getting rolling is definitely a scary, scary prospect for SK Telecom. Can pretty much stun up an entire team if you're positioned incorrectly, and then it becomes easier for Alan to land his CC, or the other way around, of course. We've seen it from both players so far in this game, but Impact again getting back into that split push role. Got himself a Phage now added in on top of that Blade of the Rune King. Thought they were maybe going to try and go for Gogoing there, who wisely backed away. They got a bit of vision down in the river to OMG. They might lose this turret though. Oh!
Shockwave pulling in Alan, but not really doing a great deal to turn it around. The tower will go down though. So SK Telecom, as we saw Monte Cristo pointed out in their previous match back at the Worlds, using an ultimate simply to try and draw that attention. Here we go though. It's going to be the Spartan jumping on Impact.
Man drop coming in. There's a good stun on towards Gogoing. Flash used early here by Impact. Dominus
really want him.
Don't see him getting away from this one, but the rest of the team may come around from it. Mondu tries to get in there. Gogoing picks up the kill.
Son of the mid lane. He popped open.
Oh, and he's popped FLICKR. That's what he's done. Popped out and got himself the kill. He's going to be able to stealth away from this one, I feel. Is there a ping wall there? I don't think there is, so he should get away clean.
We asked the question earlier about who Sun would actually pop open on in this fight. It couldn't be Jax. It was tricky to do anyone else, but FLICKR could not deal with it. That Blade of the Ruined King burst is why Twitch is such a priority pick. He literally just ran up to him in stealth, blew him up while the ball wasn't on top of his head. Oh, it was even on top of the ball, just too much damage, knowing the shockwave was down.
Not even close, that one. Look at OMG here as well. This is something that they've done constantly well. Pick up picks across the entire map, set up the traps inside the enemy jungle. SKT are going to want to get vision down. Mandu, you're in trouble now, my friend. He's already used that black shield. He's got his ulti on, but pomelo will finish him off with a spear.
That's normally an SKT trap when they get into the enemy jungler, but there's so many wards from OMG. Right now, they're trying to pull off their mid-game pressure play, and SKT is desperately fighting back. Also, when SKT lost a lot of their games in Korea, it was PoohManDu solo trying to get vision control, and he couldn't do it. The team has to stick together through adversity.
OMG are finding picks in the jungle here, and honestly, there is a lack of vision around that area, which is the only time they have managed to find that little gap, because you can see all across the map there is a big wide berth of jungle. Bengi shows himself in this top lane. There was a gigantic wave, and I actually, despite the fact that OMG obviously got a kill on PoohManDu there was a giant wave in the top lane, there was a big wave in the mid lane, yet they got 0 objectives and simply a kill on us support.
And the objective balance in this game is pretty even right now as far as turrets go. The gold difference is really just in those dragons that SKT have been able to pick up. This has a big danger here. Even though OMG has been winning a lot of fights, since they have bounties built up on a couple of their members right now, and they've actually killed SKT a fair bit, if SKT wins another fight, they win the game pretty much.
With Dragon at 1.5 minutes away and SKT having the control of it so far, I have to wonder whether fight could happen here or whether SKT will simply be gifted that Dragon. OMG not really made much of an attempt, to be honest, to get vision control down on that bottom side. Alan may just throw one over the wall just to be sure on that. Perhaps he doesn't. He's just going to make sure that he gets the vision away. Meanwhile, FLICKR here in middle. They could get closing on, but look how many wards are there.
If we see a Dragon fight, as OMG is now trying to get vision control because they returned, the item differential on our featured matchup, the mid lane, is huge. Xiyang beat FLICKR to that death cap despite having a lower CS number because of the kills and assists he's picked up. Those stuns are really hurting, and he would be able to shut down Jax if he jumps into a fight before Jax can become powerful.
Yeah, keeping the wave pressure on the bottom, Gogoing impact. Just off at the side, Alan gets caught by a dart binding. That pink ward will get cleared out. Big fight for vision. Blue buff up, Bengi caught out there, takes a burst of damage. That is the jungler down. He's going to have to back to Fountain or go into this fight low hit points.
Well, he does have the ultimate and multiple shields if they do try to go in. So even with about 60% health, it's theoretically possible for SKT to still have some control if this Dragon spawns in 15 seconds.
OMG holding firm here.
They're winning the vision control battle by a lot right now.
And the fact you can't really get past Xiyang as well right now. If you can't walk through the jungle, he can just zone you out completely, because that stun can pretty much not, it will stun anyone that goes through that area. And that's going to be a Dragon. It's going to be a completely earned Dragon by OMG. Going in there earlier after losing the last couple, getting some vision down, controlling SKT's blue side. Good pickup for them.
Xiyang nearly went blind there into that bush, and you could tell immediately stepped away. Pomelo actually
thought that SKT was sneaking Baron right there.
Yeah, I think they were just thinking we can't have taken the Dragon that easy, that free. SKT must be up to something right now, but it wasn't to be. The blue buff was stolen away though, so FLICKR's not going to have that for a while. PoohManDu, look and see the damage now. That death cap on Xiyang, half the damage ripped off him in just a double combo.
And it is really important as we look at these teams and how they match up against each other. SKT, a huge favorite coming into this one because of how impressive they looked 4-0ing the group stage where OMG 2-2'd, and then also just how handily SKT beat Fnatic. But remember, OMG beat Cloud9 pretty badly too, and Cloud9 were pretty damn good in the group stage. When OMG played their regular season, they tend to feel people out in their first game of 2. They're 40-minute long games. They play much more conservatively. Then in the second games, 32 minutes. They're way better. They've had their group stage to take SKT, and there's the stealth bomb.
Jumps on Piglet. That's it. You can see Sun sneaking in there. Now they're going to try to turn this one back around. They flash away. Impact now locked up. Counter-strike is not going to land. Alan's running all the interference. Gogoing. Four-man stun comes out from Xiyang. Gogoing gets the locks on FLICKR. FLICKR taken down. Impact on the side. Bengi's drawing the attention. He pulls away. He got on towards pomelo. It leaves Gogoing on his own, but it's another of the 2 carries picked off and assassinated by OMG.
0-4 is the score for FLICKR right now, and they might catch him.
Oh, ward put down right on top of Bengi. They know which direction he's going, and look at this. They're just going to close off to all those different entrances. Could be that Bengi has to kill himself here at this point.
This was such a difficult choice for OMG because they had to fear the Jax teleport coming in. It was so close to being a Baron fight, and they can't seem to find Bengi. Nice escape.
Good stuff. So from bengi keeps him alive, but that has seen now OMG take the lead in the goal.
And this was the start of something great for them. Look at how far away that stun landed from. Max range just allowing it to knock him out. And without an AD carry, SKT kind of wants to fight this, but they're not entirely sure. And watch how FLICKR gets flanked here. Gets the stun into another stun. He's not allowed to move. He basically would have had to go Mercury Treads in this game because of the way they're focusing him properly. Worst game FLICKR's had in quite some time.
It is definitely all driven from this mid lane. I think if one thing is clear from this game, no matter how it turns out, Jung will not be playing Syndra for the rest of the best of 5.
I'm surprised he's playing it now, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
I honestly think that his Syndra has already been shown to be ban-worthy in this tournament.
It could be a confidence for SKT. I mean, remember how we said this is pretty much OMG's best composition they're going to get in this best of 5. And it might have been a scare tactic by SKT, thinking if we beat them at their best, the series is over.
Demoralize them, yeah.
And try and demoralize them. Remember, this is a best of 5, and SKT is very experienced in playing long series because of the playoff format in OGN Champions. This could just be one of their long-form tactics, if that's actually it. I'm not sure.
Well, if there's anything I've learned, it doesn't matter what an Orianna does throughout the game. If he just lands one of those big important shockwaves, it can turn everything on its head. At 0-4-2, it's not the opening game FLICKR had dreamed of last night when he was bedding himself down after destroying Fnatic, but it's clear that right now, it could turn around. The stealth bomber thought about it, but he caught a glimpse. He caught a glimpse off the side there. Sun would have pulled the trigger on FLICKR. He would have died, but he was wise to back away.
That's the value of the Twitch, though, and why it's such a ban priority against these guys. It allows control, but they tried jumping on Allen. Will it work this time?
Yeah, he's down.
Yeah, it will. Because it gave him trouble jumping on Allen before around the ward control. That's huge, though. It burned his ultimate as well as taking his support down. And that's right as OMG had gotten map control. SKT can get it back with that pick.
What are they going to do here? SKT moving up towards the Baron pit. 4 men left alive, and Allen not coming up here for a good 15 seconds or so. Obviously, it's gone down now just a little bit. With them gaining
2-man Baron.
Full vision control back here. There's not a lot that OMG can do about it.
It's the one mistake into a big move by SKT. It's why they're so difficult to beat. It's why they're the world champions right now. They kill Leona and they're scared to check. They'd have to pant the ult in almost right now, but they are moving, and SKT only has 2 inside. They have to bail out. OMG sees them.
Pomelo ready and waiting. They're spotted in there. Gogoing goes in. It's going to be a smite fight. Who's going to go down? Impact's the focus. It's going to be SK Telecom, but at what price? Impact is taken down. It's a 1 for 0, but it's a Baron nevertheless for SKT. OMG have to push.
Absolutely worth it there for SKT. They pulled it off by staying in. OMG couldn't get in fast enough. They need to get some kills. What a stun, but not in range to follow.
Long range stuns coming out. They're going to try rotate. They're trying to pick anything up they can here, but they know they've just stole the march on them, SK Telecom. They're happy to stake it. It's only a 19-second death timer at this 30-minute mark.
And it's not giving masses of gold there over to SKT with how that one, or with how close this game actually is in the end. Here's the rat FLICKR trying to recall. A little bit of a letdown in the end.
It was a little dangerous at that point. He still does a lot of damage with that death cap completed. And because there's a Baron buff now on the side of SKT, the kills are still in the advantage of OMG, and they still do hold the control advantage, but that Baron buff could be so critical if the dragon fight happens.
OMG seem a little bit unsure of what to do right now. They've been running around that jungle. They're like, yeah, we've just give SK Telecom, we need to push, but SK Telecom have been smart. They've gone back one by one.
And I also need to talk about how smart that Baron choice was by SKT. The fact that they only committed 2 people into the pit that can both jump out afterwards means if they did lose the Baron, they still wouldn't lose the game. They would have had 1 casualty, win or lose in that Smite Seal. It wasn't an all-in maneuver, but it potentially gives them the all-in ability of winning the game if they would have gotten it with no casualties.
So Dragon here was, of course, on basically OMG's side, since it was so heavily pushed up there in the bottom side of SKT's jungle, but SKT themselves have now started to move away. That actually levels us up bang even in gold at the 31.5-minute mark. Are SKT feeling confident enough now with that Baron on to actually push something?
Well, 2 minutes still remain on that buff, so they've got plenty of time to try and push an objective. You can see that clearly it is the top they are focusing. Impact already pushing it down there. And OMG not going to be able to react to this one. I think this is an inner turret gone.
As far as the items go as well, Sun has went for an Infinity Edge over a Last Whisper, which you see oftentimes as that third item. It means he's not necessarily going for tanks, but instead wants to cut out squishies. If he actually gets jumped on by Bengi, he can't blow him up. He needs to get a stealth attack, which means if SKT groups up properly with this Baron buff, they can really push some type of edge.
And sticking around there, already doing some good damage. xiyang going to be a constant threat for them, though. A big group stun into Alan's Solar Flare and the rest of the team diving in on top of them. Something that SKT have already felt the pain of, and there is a stun onto Impact, but they can use FLICKR. Where's the extra damage that he's now finally got himself built up to have a go at things? The ball goes onto Impact's head. Wanted to maybe jump in there and get the shockwave off, but they've done some damage. SKT are very, very apprehensive about fighting.
Both these mid laners have so much zone control of this lane that is just keeping both entire teams back from going in. Yes, a catch on someone who's not a Jax or a tank on OMG side could create something crazy, but they are playing so cautiously because the mid laners are just so scary right now.
Remember, Jax is the only one that does not have that Baron buff, so he's not going to be regenerating that hit points like the rest of his team. And they are unable to break the deadlock here. OMG have done a good job defending this turret.
And I'm so pleased that this game, that's a Dark Binding. He has his Zhonya's. He's in a bad spot.
Oh, and he flashes out. Pomelo's going in.
Really, really good flash from him there. We saw it was timed perfectly. Everything going his way. They couldn't land. FLICKR didn't actually go for the shockwave in the end. That's how quick he was at getting away. Maybe enough for the turret hit, though. Here we'll see.
No flash, no Zhonya's. It's incredibly difficult for them to hold because the zone control, he can't take those risks anymore. He's one binding and they would lose maybe even an inhibitor. They give it up.
Gogoing is too low. They have to give it up, like you said. It's a hard-fought turret, but it is only one turret. It was a sneaky Baron that got them it. But we'll see what objective control they can gain from OMG's jungle off this one. A blue buff steal is the first.
SKT trying to strike back here in the late game. And this is why I'm so excited that this game has actually gotten to this point, because we've heard so much and seen so much of OMG winning every game they get to late with even gold, but also SKT with their legendary world-class coordination. Who's going to win out? Is it OMG with their late game? I have to give them the advantage in this one because SKT has won so many games early and OMG has been in this situation so many more times, just not against teams at the same caliber of SKT. It's going to be fascinating to watch.
I think Sun is also one to watch. We just saw him farming a bit down on the bottom right now. Phantom Dance of Lane Ruin King and that Infinity Edge. Surely the Last Whisper will be next on the cards, and anyone that he catches up on, he's going to die in a 1v1 scenario. If you don't deal with him in team fights and you grouped up wrong, he's going to rip through you.
And it's something you can look across the board on and see. If you look at the gold, you can see it's a clear edge for the carries. That's what's needed to be. You look at xiyang in that mid lane. He's a clear item ahead. He's got that Zhonya's, as we just saw, making him basically saving his life in that last fight. He's already now moved on towards the blasting one, heading towards potentially the Void Staff. And FLICKR's still a low item behind.
The whole reason that the gold is actually in the side of SKT is there's 2,200 more gold on PoohManDu than there is on Alan. Alan's gotten cut out a few times. He hasn't generated nearly as much gold with his face in the mountain as there has with the Frost Queen's Claim on the other side. But that Morgana gold is mainly just in utility. It's not like he's built up any damage. He's got nice bindings. But those 2,000 gold on a support don't give the same type of edge as the 2,000 gold spread across the carries.
So Sam continuing to farm his way up. He's now past the 300 CS markers. SKT like, where are they? Okay, they've just spotted Leona down by the bottom side.
Do they have the wrong Baron timer?
I think they're a minute off, yes.
Yes.
They were banging 1 minute too early.
Exactly.
It happens to the best of teams, Jack.
Pressure. That's pressure. Right there. I mean, that is completely pressure right now in this situation. It even shows that even the reigning world champions can get things wrong. Everyone in the world right now that is in charge of timers will be like, yes, see?
Well, basically, they're like, Leona's gone, but Baron's come. Well, this is easy Baron. Oh, wait. Wrong timer.
Oh, man. But the interesting thing about that is OMG needs to get vision control right now, and all of SKT's mindsets are thrown off. It's not like they were just a minute close to Baron. It means all of their pre-planning was a minute early. The deep wards they placed now have time to get cleared out. The traps that they were going to set, they kind of have to set again, and it takes longer than 1 minute to set up a perfect Baron play.
Well, xiyang has managed to get in and steal the blue buff while that was happening on SK Telecom. So again, that is huge, like you say, FLICKR. The SK Telecom's timers were just knocked out of whack completely there. Oh, the FLICKR stole away there one.
Well, that happens to the best of us too. Get your blue stolen away by the enemy mid laners. They still both have blue. That's going to be absolutely huge for these guys. Item-wise, as far as mid laners go, despite the 1,000 gold lead, it's just that blasting one, so they're both incredibly scary. I would argue that FLICKR could obliterate the team just as well as xiyang. Big stun versus Shockwave. But as far as AD carries go, Sun is massive when compared to Piglet.
And speaking of Sun, you can tell the game has slowed down, but SK Telecom have stayed grouped. FLICKR was caught out a number of times, but Sun was trying to get into that stealth bomber rat, but it has not worked out because SK Telecom are staying clumped. They are staying, or at least within range. Impact's the only guy who's gone solo, and honestly, I'd probably pit them pretty even right now.
This is super scary though, because they're going to send Renekton for him, and Jax can only, well, Renekton can only hold off Jax for so long. The scaling of the overall team comps does favor SKT with the Jax, Kha'Zix, Orianna, everything going. OMG is known for their tremendous late game team fighting, but they don't have a tremendous late game team composition right now. As we get later and later and the gold gets higher and higher, this Baron play could decide the game.
Now we see Impact already moving down. He's a level behind Gogoing, but the rate that he's taking down minions here, that's not really going to last too long. The rest of SKT just hang fire by that Baron pit until they can break the defenses, and putting a ward down in there is going to give you literally 2 seconds of vision, and then you're going to lose it again.
And with all the pink ward control around the Baron pit, Sun can't actually make it in for a surprise attack. This laning catching is gone. OMG likes pulling so much of their stuff from the mid lane and playing around Baron, but it's SKT has reversed the roles. They're the ones who are using Baron to force team fights. Let's see how OMG tries to adapt to this one.
They took the Baron quickly down to just above half hit points there, and OMG are playing a risky game. Every time they try and sneak in and just get a ward down, it seems that they are really risking their lives. Impact is backing away from that bottom lane. He's moving up towards this Baron now. He's got to be careful because he actually may come around. He's going to sneak the Dragon down, so he's giving yet more gold advantage for SK Telecom.
Yeah, at this point in the game, the Dragon's worth almost
they push him in.
Baron. Mid lane push though, this is going to create something fast.
This is a tower. There's no way that they can stop this one from happening. SKT are still on Baron. Actually, he's not taking much damage whatsoever.
Oh, that's a full stack Jax. I don't know if he can take him on.
Yeah, he's going to try though. He's definitely going to try for this one. There's the ulti coming in. Counter-Strike will go off. Doesn't actually get the stun. SKT stopped doing the Baron. They backed away, and Gogoing's actually going to keep chasing onto Impact. We've seen already how slippery this Jax is. Not sure he can do it.
I mean, this could go on for quite some time. There's actually a Pantheon all trying to come down, though. They're trying to corner him in. Cancel it. It's coming back soon, though, when he cancels.
Pomelo making his way down here. It's going to be a 2-on-1 very soon. Impact still fully stacked here. Dodges out of the Counter-Strike. That's problems for Impact now. There's the stun coming through there. He's going to get a leap strike once again. There's a slice of dice. He's got away. The rest of his team are now invisible. Actually, they may well group up and fight in the mid lane. xiyang's got out of position in the mid lane. He's having to get a goal. Bengi jumps in towards him. xiyang manages to flash away. San comes in. He's on fake around the side. xiyang uses it. Sonya's hourglass left and right. But that's going to be the taste of fear. Should be enough to take him down. No, the stun bomb. Oh, no! Sun taken solo as well. Piglet tries to get him and get the kill. He's going to keep on chasing, and Sun gets away as well. And now keep going for Piglet.
Onto Piglet, it's Gogoing that goes for that one. Pomelo coming in as well, and
wow,
couldn't quite move forward. But what a... I mean, look at those health bars. It was 2 for 0 in the end.
The gold is going to transfer, but people are so damn low they can't actually take objectives off this. The Dragon timers and Baron timers, 30 seconds. They might go to Baron well low, but let's take another look at this. The Zhonya's, before his Void Staff, was so critical in this game. He pops it despite taking a lot of damage, and then the ult on FLICKR to keep him back, and then just the protection from Allen, so critical. He blocked all the culling shots and stopped him from being isolated to the Kha'Zix. They're going for Baron. The fight is on.
The fight is on, and they're going to find the support of Allen. Pomelo's in all sorts of trouble. He gets destroyed. The shockwave comes ricocheting through. Going in trouble. SK Telecom turning on the style right now. The Sun gets caught out. Sun stealthed up, and he's going to be able to sneak away.
Teleport behind Jung. They're done for.
Putting wards down here. Sun is going to go in towards PoohManDu. Oh, he's landed the bandit! He's landed the bandit! Piglet comes in the back. PoohManDu now going to try and lock up Jung. Where are they going to go? Impact is there. Binding doesn't land. That's a lot of damage going through. But the ace comes in for SK SK Telecom T1K.
And that is the game swinging entirely in their favor. We said it was a 2-for-0, but they had taken people so low that it would be hard to push objectives afterwards. It would actually be disastrous to push objectives afterwards because they get completely aced and lose the Baron to SKT.
And look at this, inhibitors, objectives being fallen left and right. SK Telecom turning on the power that Jack's burning on that thing. Hasn't used his own skin, by the way, I might point out for Impact. He's not using the Summoner's Cup, but it doesn't matter because it's another tower falling. SK Telecom taking everything off OMG now.
It looks like they may have just won the game off of that one because the game and the gold that was so close for 41 minutes now has a 7,000 plus gold advantage. They got a lot of the killing sprees down. They finished Sun with nice dark bindings and mostly just having a scattered fight against OMG. You would think that OMG's late game mechanics and decision making, because they've done it so much during the season, would hold true in this game, especially at the Baron pit where they seem to flock every single critical game and make powerful plays. It fell wrong in this one.
2,000 gold lead now for SK Telecom. Still, it's OMG that actually hold on to the lead in the kills. The items starting to get there, starting to get to that 6-item stage where gold doesn't matter anymore. Anything's possible. A shockwave.
Yeah.
Zonya's before or after a shockwave couldn't even make a difference there. Xiyang, if you'd have avoided the shockwave, you're actually going to take a lot of damage. Gogoing will tank it up. Impact moving forward. Will SKT want to fight this one? They, of course, took the inhibitor turret and the inhib itself in that top lane. The inner turret in the mid lane was taken out as well after the ace. Bottom lane still has one tower outside of the base up for grabs. Might be an easy target for them here.
Yeah, and as the siege on the turret comes in, I'm not sure they're going to clear it this wave because they're going to come pushing in now. I'd love to see a replay maybe at the analyst desk of what actually led to that Baron fight, because obviously we came out the replay, we only just caught it as they all engaged. They've been running a merry dance for a good 10 minutes before that, but suddenly the crazy engagement. OMG again, maybe just stylistically caught out. They're going for it, Joe. They're going to jump in, the cancel. Ooh, pomelo pulls out again, but that turret's going down.
Pomelo likes to play with our hearts right there with that Pantheon ult. It would have been the game if they lose that fight. It wasn't a clean enough initiation, so they're willing to sacrifice their second inhibitor of the game. They're completely against the ropes. You almost never see comebacks after 2 inhibitors down.
Yeah, you have, and they have the perfect scenario. Super minions coming in from the top side. They're just going to start to pressure that bottom lane here. Force OMG to defend the turret or lose it, which either, it's not good either way, because super minions are going to be killing your base by the time you've actually held on to things for that long. SKT basically knocking on the door of victory for this match.
And it's been a tough one. This was not as one-sided as many had predicted, but they may do this Pantheon ult once again. Another false start for these guys.
I think he's cancelled more than he's actually dropped in on.
Well, I think he's wise to cancel it as well, because he was like, "Are we gonna go?" No, we're definitely not. I think they're just waiting for SKT to push in and maybe try and get behind them, but...
Yeah, the Pantheon ult's on such a slow cooldown. It's when you cancel it. It's fine to try that because it higher the probability that we're going to get one. They're hoping to predict a Pantheon ult that comes in really quickly as SKT dives, so that they're using it actually at the start of each minion wave, like again.
This time he's going for it though, he's going to pull the trigger. Faker's already used that shield, the dark binding. Faker tries to get locked up, but the Zonya's hourglass is enough to stop it. pomelo in trouble, he takes all of the culling damage. Impact's taken very low, he's going to drop down there. Gogoing slides in and out. Faker's going to get focused. Sun gets pulled to the side, Faker goes down into double kill for Xiyang, but they're still backing away into the turrets. They've got to be careful, the big damage dealers are still up for OMG. PoohManDu goes in, Zonya's ulti comes out there, stuns up, another Zonya's comes out from Xiyang. He flashes in on towards Bengi, stuns out Piglet, but has to back away from this one. Sun comes in, gets himself a double. They've defended for now, but the super minions are all over the Nexus.
Their base is in absolute shambles right now. They did push them off though, and they have enough damage back to their base that I think they can hold this one off, D-Man.
There's a lot of super minions actually coming back in from this one though. It's going to be close, but I think, as you said, they are going to hold on to this base just about, and it's exactly what we touched on earlier. A long enough fight, and that was a hell of a long fight down the bottom to have those super minions basically win the game for you.
We actually did see it in a Ice vs Fire game though. Impact has his Jax teleport up, and there is a ward There was a ward inside the base, still is. It's got another few seconds on it. We'll have to watch for that during the replay, but this fight was actually a perfect Zhonya's by FLICKR. All the damage got thrown on and it didn't get him, and they still won the fight. It was late game Sun opening up at the right time, and xiyang keeping himself completely safe. Shockwave only hit one because FLICKR had to use it while he was dying, could not position it any better, and they ran them down just barely, as SKT was seconds away from winning this game. This fight goes a few more seconds, minions actually end the game for SKT.
Yeah, really difficult scenario for OMG to be in. Here is SKT now spawning back out. As you mentioned, teleport is available. Ward's timed out.
Yeah, the ward timed out. That's the critical thing. So, safety reigns right here, but Baron in 1 minute 35. If the middle inhibitor respawns, which it should in about a minute, they would be able to contest that Baron. And if they want a clean fight, they could push it right back up against SKT. The chances are slim to nil, though, because most likely, instead of just opting into a 5v5 against SKT, SKT is going to try and trick them a little bit, find the advantage, because they have a lot more cards to play with.
Yeah, and they have that teleport still on the cards, as you mentioned. Impact in there. OMG trying to set up a sneaky gank here. Is it going to be Impact down the bottom? The rest of SK Telecom are heading towards that Baron already. They want to clear the vision. Look at this, the stealth bomber. It's worked well so far. Solar Flare lands down towards him. He's got nowhere to jump to. The counter-strike goes through, but Impact is down. That's a very important kill. 70-second death timer, 50 seconds on the Baron.
There is no way he actually makes it for the spawn of the Baron, so if OMG goes strong at this one, pushes up the mid lane where the super minions are, they may actually take an uncontested Baron or push up the mid lane. The only counterplay SKT would have would be to try and backdoor something. They just can't make it into the base.
I was gonna say, where is FLICKR going there with his Lich Bane?
They're going straight up the heart. They're gonna try and win the game here. If SKT defends, think of the dive potential. No Leona ultimate, but they're going for a lot of objective right here.
FLICKR's gonna try and come around the back here. He's gonna be important to watch. He realizes he can't. There are wards in there. He comes in. OMG are
30
going
seconds
to take
still.
down the inhibitor. 30 seconds, half a minute until Impact can come back into this fight. OMG scared. They've caught Gogoing. Will they follow through on it? Looking for the stun here as well. Is xiyang. And the Indian's surely going to go down. Surely they can't hold on to this one. They take it. They come back off. Baron is live.
The big engages are down, remember. Solar Flare was used. It's only just come back off cooldown. They may try and do a turn here, OMG, if SK Telecom chase too hard.
But OMG took so long on the inhibitor that Baron is a big option for SKT right now. Impact is up with teleport, and they took so much damage from that bait inhibitor right there, they basically can't contest.
Alan peeled off. He got vision in the pit, as you mentioned, but they have to back away. I think it will be Baron. You can see Gogoing's actually backing away. The rest of the team are moving back to the pit, but that Baron's going to go so quick here. They have to go commit. It's not going to be. SK Telecom take Baron.
After they went for the inhibitor, it's the straightaway choice by SKT to go for Baron, because OMG would have lost the game if they went for it. With the minion wave in the bottom lane, even if they got a 5v5 or 5v4, Impact teleports bot lane and ends the game. It was a lose-lose situation there for OMG. After getting the inhibitor, I think they could have gotten a Baron if they wanted it, only the Baron, but instead they chose the inhibitor. I think that could be a very costly choice, knowing that they have naked inhibitors with no turrets defending them against a stronger late-game team. They need the Baron buff for those team fights, and they've given it up to SKT with that inhibitor choice.
Impact just trying to push those super minions back by trying, just obviously a matter of time, no problems for him. And tanking all those up and will push it back. They've got 2 open inhibs to finish off. The 4-man team over the other side, not really pushing per se here. They're pushing the waves through, but a little bit apprehensive of going too far up there and having a quick 5 versus 4 happen on them.
Yeah, OMG are running a dangerous game there. They knew the Impact wasn't with them, so they were trying to see if they could sneak something. xiyang was desperately trying to stay stealth in that bush at the side, hoping that someone would come face-checking towards there, but SK Telecom far too wise to fall for them tricks, and they're going to have a naked fight around this inhibitor.
It's going to be about whether pomelo can land another nice Pantheon ultimate. He has a really nice pattern that I think almost every professional Pantheon player is going to copy, where he checks that ultimate every time he might want to use it and decides whether to actually go in or not. It kind of lowers the cooldown of the Pantheon ultimate as far as, the cast time when he goes in. expected initiation with the Pantheon ult when they go for that first inhibitor, unless SKT very smartly pushes 1-4-1 split push with Jax, because Renekton can't handle him.
They've got a real problem with Jax because he can solo it. Xiyang got out, Zhonya's goes down. Now where's he going to go though? He's going to get caught out by the Connie. The damage is in there. That is it. SK Telecom catch down one. Alan's all out of position now. They're going to try and come back on towards bengi. Pomelo comes around there, so they do lock up Piglet for a short period of time, and it's only a matter of time. The Nexus turret's taking all of the damage. Shockwave misses nothing, but it does not matter. Game 1 goes to SK Telecom T1K.
And what a game that was. 51 minutes for the first one, with more kills actually going to OMG. At the very end, it actually did come down to the mid laners blowing Zhonya's together, but the team of FLICKR came through to finish.
Absolutely crazy game. Luckily for us, guys, it's a best of 5. Still such a long way to go in this one. We talked about it earlier on. The SKT decided to run with the red side for the first 2 games. Well, they only decided for the first one, and OMG decided it for them for the second one.
Well, with how prominent blue side first choice is, when you pick red on the first one, you're basically opting in. And that'll be a very interesting story as we get towards game 2.
The big problem here right now for me, I fear, sadly, is that OMG got everything they wanted in that game, and they didn't get victory.
That's exactly it.
Gogoing on his main champion, Xiyang on a champion he's never lost on. Well, he has now, ladies and gentlemen. Sun on Twitch. Huge in that game, by the way, 7-1-4 on that Twitch. This may well be a big moral value, mental victory for SK Telecom.
There's the outside chance that OMG actually gained confidence from that, though, because they were incredibly close to beating SKT once again right there, and that's not, I don't think internationally, aside from within China, people weren't giving him the chance for that.
And you have to wonder as well, 51-minute game. This is a best of 5. Could be a very, very long series for us. You start to lose a little bit of concentration. Maybe not in the next game, but maybe the next game after that, and the next game after that.
We saw it in game 1 there for SK Telecom. They may have won the game, but they were a full minute out on the timer on Baron and completely missed the blue buff.
Absolutely.
Completely out. We'll see how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. It's a best of 5. For now, we're going to check in with the analyst desk to break that game down further.
Thank you very much, guys, and welcome back to the All-Star Analyst Desk. As a note, that was the longest game of our tournament thus far, clocking in at 51 minutes and 30 seconds. And my word, did it deliver from start to finish. I do want to go back. It is nearly an hour ago that this game began. Let's talk about some picks and bans. I want to talk about the fact that SKT opted onto red side. There's a lot of strategic decisions and thinking and planning that goes into that. You can see the pick order. Please take note. First pick, blue side, on the side of OMG. It was, of course, Twitch, and following through Deficio. What's your take on the red side and, of course, the picks and ban phase here for SKT?
Well, so first of all, with the red side here from SKT, they could actually last ban the Nunu because they've seen everything else was being banned away they actually wanted to remove from the game. So they could remove the Nunu here, and it was great for them because they would either pick up Twitch or Jax as the options here. And Nunu would be great against both these picks. So it's very smart to take it away. Also, OMG plays well with it. Now, first pick is Twitch. Obviously here, it's where OMG has the option between Kha'Zix, Jax, and Twitch as the 3 OP champions. SKT are fine, you take one, we take the next 2, they instant lock them in as well here. The Jax was huge for them in this game. Also because there would be no option for Gogoing to pick anything that could deal with Jax late game. There's simply no choice for him other than go Renekton and just try for early game come from OMG side.
Not to mention that if the Twitch is first picked, by responding with Jax and Kha'Zix, you have champions that have really good gap closers to get onto a very immobile Twitch in this game and deal a high amount of single target damage.
100% agree. And also, we can just pull down a graphic now. We've seen the pick here. The Morgana pick as well. Because you have these champions who's going to dive onto the enemy team, you need your AD Carry to be safe. You need either a FLICKR to be safe as well in the backline. And with Morgana, with the Black Shield, when you're against the likes of Pantheon, Renekton, physical champions, with a stun here, the Black Shield will last the entire duration on whatever target PoohManDu puts it on, because these champions can't break it. So they will never be able to single target stun either Piglet or FLICKR in that case, if they're just standing in the back, and they can just deal all the damage towards OMG then.
So picks and bans locked in. Both teams, I feel, getting very comfort picks for them. A lot of sort of signature champions actually being thrown in there on both sides of the table. As a note, Gogoing is 7-1 on Renekton from the beginning of the year until now. That was his very first loss on that champion. A player who is famous for his Renekton. So we get out the gates. The game goes explosive early on. Crepo, talk us through the first trades and engages.
Yeah, you see that even though OMG pick their bot lane first. I feel SKT picked a losing matchup just because they really fancied to swap away both. If their bot lane swaps away, that's fine because that way the Jax is swapped away from Gogoing's Renekton. And as you said, he's really good on the champion. Renekton does really well against Jax, especially in the early levels. It takes really long for Jax to ramp up to a point where he can actually start bullying the Renekton. Even though the Renekton was gold down in fights, you could just see how powerful he is in the early to mid game. So that was good from SKT. They lane swapped. They had both teams delayed invaded on the blue buff, but then I feel they could have played it a little differently, and I don't want to question their methods, but I just want to offer an alternative and see if that would have been maybe been better. I think we even have a replay of that situation, so if you can get that up on your screen right now. Yeah, so at this point, what we see here is Bengi and Impact. They just cleared 3 camps in the blue side jungle, and normally in the Western scene, in the LCS that we play in usually, we would see that top laner and jungle go up top, be joined by the bottom lane that's already there, go for a 4-0 push. Instead, they opt to roam down to mid and engage on xiyang's Syndra. If we roll the crypt right now, we can see that Impact does a really smart thing. He channels his stun, goes immediately for the flash on top of Syndra. However, if xiyang would have flashed this a little better or a little earlier as he saw them coming, this could have backfired really hard for SKT. This is a really close fight where I think both people end up living on 1 HP, and SKT kinda doesn't win out at all here, Money.
Well, you can tell that this was the strategy behind letting them have Syndra. Obviously, when you don't ban it, you're going to assume that OMG is going to pick it up. And so they wanted to make a play on the mid lane. Now, key points there also was Jung reacted really well to that. First off, FLICKR didn't get an Ignite range, which was pretty crucial. And also, because it was the Syndra-Orianna matchup, he was level 2 and had skilled Command Attack and Command Protect just to save him from some of the damage. Didn't have that distortion. If he had had distortion, if he had been in Ignite range, that would have been a kill.
I just wonder, do you not think that going for a gank on Syndra is a little bit too risky? Because xiyang still got stunned by Jax. If he would have flashed out of the Jax range, because he can see them coming in range, would the 4v0 not have been better for them?
Certainly it's the safer play, I would say that. But the thing about it is, if they had gotten that kill early and shut down the bully Syndra, because of the power spike of SK Telecom's composition in the late game, I think it would have been a lot different because they would have had the early game advantage as well.
Yeah, but to answer your question though, like, they only chased because she was at 12 health, right?
Yeah.
Like, the flash engage is not something you predict, right? They are going to research level 1s, know there's no defensive ward on the blue just because they understand the team pretty well. And like, that dive is so unpredictable that they're not going to be waiting to counter gank. No team is waiting to counter gank that. And if you don't flash after the Syndra, then like there's no risk. It's just
so
like
I want to interject because we do have limited time to discuss a 50-minute game. Okay. And I love the fact that from the very opening minutes of this game, there is so much that we can discuss. I want to go out there and say OMG held their own against SKT on an individual mechanical level as well as a strategic level, albeit they were a 10th of a step behind. OMG did give up the first dragon. I do feel that SKT got an early lead, and they held that very small lead throughout most of the game. But you can by no means say that OMG were outclassed or outmatched this game. Agree or disagree?
Well, keep in mind, the comp here from OMG is very, very strong in the early mid game. And that's also why they did so well in keeping up with SKT in these fights. Just the fact they actually were behind in gold in the early mid game was a giant loss for them, because SKT could just take it easy and actually just extend the game. We saw FLICKR pick up home guards fairly early, so you could just always go back to base, come out and defend. And we actually also got a replay just to highlight as well how the comp worked for OMG. So if you just put it up on your screen as well. It is again Son here on Twitch, who's actually sneaking up towards Piglet, who I believe he got stunned by Syndra
from
first.
Out of range.
From out of range.
That's the power of
exactly.
the Twitch Syndra combo.
Exactly. They can always sneak up on targets here. And OMG didn't know. If you look at the gold, it's dead even. We're 26 minutes in. This is the point where they should be ahead with this comp. Anyhow, let's just roll the clip. They get a kill onto Piglet early on. And then we see Alan starting the fight up here. Only 2 members from OMG actually, but they're still going for the fight. Ultimate from FLICKR coming in, doesn't actually do anything, and the fact that Alan gets out alive simply means from here on it's a 1-5 from OMG, and this is what they needed. They needed to win these fights here. However, Monty, you know exactly what they did wrong afterwards.
Yeah, the problem here is that we do see Bengi hopping over the wall, and if you guys remember, Alan is going to try and delay him right here, and he's going to hop off. Now, if we look at the way the minion wave was pushing in this instance, it was actually, there was a huge wave pushing into the mid lane, and unfortunately, OMG decided to try and chase Bengi through the jungle instead of actually taking the tier 2 turret immediately in mid, and therefore maximizing their map pressure and advantage in that situation. So just let Bengi go, definitely not worth it. And the other thing that happened right there was the Bengi, there was a teleport used, and that allowed a counter teleport later from Impact, and that was pretty significant.
Yeah, I think at least 3 different occasions we saw OMG miss out on an opportunity to take a free tower. Even when they were grouped up around the tower, they were hiding around the corner, trying to make a pick on the tower instead of just hitting the tower. And it just shows that OMG is not as aware of these objectives as SKT, and it indicates that why SKT is so comfortable picking these late game champions on first rotation. They pick Kha'Zix and Jax on the purple side. They maintain vision control in their red jungle. Even when they fell behind, they just put a lot of pink wards in their red side jungle. They're near Baron with good vision control. They can catch over the wall. They even call Alan once he was trying to get vision in. They're comfortable going to late game, and then they know they can outsmart their opponents.
Well, 2 closing thoughts from both Freak and Fisher before we move in.
Yeah, I think overall, SKT played their comp largely correctly, right? They grouped for the actual 5-man siege the whole time because they know if you split Jax, Pantheon jumps you, and they respected the OMG engage. Largely, the times where SKT fell was they were looking for picks when OMG was already pre-grouped. It would be someone like Bengi thinking he gets a free kill, but there's 4 more members of OMG there.
Fisher?
I just want to give credit to OMG. Even going late game, they managed to keep the game going. There were often times where a little bit aggressive, maybe over-aggressive, where they use multiple globals to try and pick up some kills, and then SKT could respond back because Impact saved his teleport. He could go bot lane, they could bait out the Baron, that's why they picked up the first Baron as well. But OMG still managed to actually keep it going, and the team fights, especially from both xiyang and Sun, were perfect. Like, the positioning for both of them was so beautiful. And if they can continue to do this, maybe get a little bit better late game comp and still hold on in the early game, they might be able to take a game.
Well, we'll have to see if they can, because that first game was a hell of a match. We do have to jump to a quick break. When we come back, we're jumping into game 2 between OMG and SKT T1K. Do not click away. The All-Star 2014 Finals will be back right after this.
Faker's in real trouble here. Throws down the shockwave, which means pomelo is stuck under the tower. A kill comes back from that one. Will Impact keep going? Bengi's actually coming across the side here. Alan's going to be the sacrificial lamb.
Another fight erupts. Alan is so dead.
Alan Doe, he gets drawn away from him. Bengi's now in trouble. Xiyang shuts him down. And Alan's running all the interference. Gogoing. Oh, man, stun comes out from Jung. Gogoing gets the locks on Faker. Faker taken down.
The fight is on.
The fight is on, and they're going to find the support of Alan. Pomelo's in all sorts of trouble. He gets destroyed. The shockwave comes ricocheting through. Gogoing in trouble. SK Telecom turning on the style right now. He flashes in on towards Bengi, stuns out Piglet, but